My brothers and sisters, there comes a time in every person's life when the heart feels heavy, the path feels unclear, and the soul feels tired. You look around and it seems like everyone else has direction, everyone else knows what they're doing, but you feel completely lost. You try to pray, but the words don't flow. You try to smile, but it doesn't reach your heart. You start wondering, what's happening to me? Why do I feel this way? But perhaps this feeling of being lost is not a sign that you've failed. It may be a sign that Allah wants to bring you closer. Sometimes Allah allows you to lose your way in this world just so you can find your way back to Him. Feeling lost, my brothers and sisters, is not a weakness. It's not a sign that you've failed in life or that your faith has disappeared. It's a sign that you're human. Every single person who walks this earth, no matter how strong, how faithful, or how knowledgeable, goes through moments of deep confusion. There are times when even the heart of a believer trembles, when the mind is filled with questions, and when nothing seems to make sense anymore. You might be praying, but you feel disconnected. You might be trying your best, yet nothing seems to work out. You may even start wondering if Allah has turned away from you. But the truth is, these moments are part of the test of life. They are signs that Allah wants to draw you nearer, not push you away. Sometimes feeling lost is the beginning of finding purpose. When you think about it, the times you grew the most were not when everything was easy and smooth, but when you were tested, when you felt uncertain, when life didn't go your way. It is in those moments that you discover who you truly are and what you truly believe in. Allah never promised us that the path would always be clear. He promised that He would guide those who sincerely seek Him. But to seek Him, you have to first realize that you need guidance. So when you feel lost, that feeling itself is a reminder that you cannot rely on your own strength forever. You need your Creator. It's very easy to look at others and think they have it all figured out. But remember, nobody posts their confusion. Nobody shares their tears or the nights they cried silently. Everyone is struggling with something. Some people hide it behind smiles, others keep it behind closed doors. But the truth is, no one has a perfect life. Even the prophets, the most beloved of Allah, went through moments where they felt lost, afraid, or uncertain. When Prophet Musa fled Egypt, he didn't know what lay ahead. When Prophet Yunus found himself in the darkness of the whale, he felt completely helpless. Yet in their moments of uncertainty, they turned to Allah, and that is what transformed their confusion into clarity, their fear into strength, and their despair into hope. So if you are feeling lost right now, know that you are standing in the same place that many great souls once stood. You are not far from Allah because of your confusion. In fact, you may be closer to Him than ever before. It's in the moments of emptiness that your heart becomes most receptive to divine guidance. When everything is taken away, when your plans fall apart, when people let you down, that's when your soul begins to listen. That's when you start to realize that the only one who can truly guide you, heal you, and fill that void is Allah. You might say, but I've been praying, I've been asking for help, and nothing is changing. The truth is, sometimes Allah doesn't change your situation immediately because He's changing you first. If you got everything you wanted instantly, you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't reflect, you wouldn't learn patience, trust, or humility. Feeling lost is Allah's way of softening your heart so that you stop relying on the world and start relying on Him. It's His gentle reminder that no matter how much control you think you have, He is still the one who guides hearts and writes destinies. Maybe you're going through a period where your life feels meaningless. You wake up and go through the motions, but inside you feel empty. You try to distract yourself with entertainment, with people, with work, but the emptiness doesn't leave. That's not a coincidence. That emptiness is your soul's way of telling you it needs something deeper. It needs purpose. It needs connection. It needs Allah. This world will never fill that void, no matter how much you chase it. You can change cities, careers, or relationships, but if you don't reconnect with the one who created you, you'll still feel lost wherever you go. And that's the mercy in feeling lost. It pushes you to search for meaning beyond the surface. It humbles you. It reminds you that you're not in control. It makes you look up and whisper, "Oh Allah, I need you." That whisper is more powerful than you realize, because it's in that moment of surrender, when you admit that you don't have all the answers, that you open the door for Allah's guidance. Allah says that He guides the hearts of those who turn to Him sincerely. That means the moment you say, "I don't know what to do, but I trust you, Ya Allah," you've already started finding your way again. Maybe this confusion you're feeling is actually the best thing that could happen to you. Maybe it's saving you from walking a path that would have harmed you. Maybe it's protecting you from people who were never meant to stay in your life. Sometimes being lost is not a detour, it's divine direction. Allah is not punishing you. He's realigning your heart with what's truly good for you. You might not see it now, but one day you will look back and say, "If I hadn't felt lost then, I would never have found what really mattered." In those moments when you feel directionless, don't rush to fix everything. Sit with your feelings, talk to Allah, pour your heart out to Him. Tell Him you don't know where to go and ask Him to show you the way. You don't need to sound perfect. He already knows what's inside your heart. Just speak sincerely, because every time you turn to Him with honesty, He listens. Even when you think your prayers are too small, too broken, too repetitive, He listens. Even when you think you're too far gone, He listens. Feeling lost is not a curse, it's a call. A call from your Creator saying, "Come back to me, let me guide you, let me comfort you." The moment you respond to that call, even with a single heartfelt prayer, your journey back to peace begins. The darkness may not disappear instantly, but the light of hope will slowly start to grow. You'll begin to feel calmer, more grounded, more aware that you are never alone. So, my brothers and sisters, don't be afraid of this feeling. Don't let it make you believe that you're a failure or that you've disappointed Allah. On the contrary, feeling lost might be the most spiritual moment of your life, because it's in that state that you finally realize who you truly need. Don't numb the pain, transform it into prayer. Don't hide your confusion, turn it into conversation with Allah. He knows what you're going through. He knows the battles you don't speak of. And He's waiting to replace your confusion with clarity, your anxiety with peace, your fear with faith. If you feel lost, remember this: even the most beautiful destinations require wandering through unfamiliar paths. Trust that Allah's guiding your steps, even when you don't see the full picture yet. The storm you're in today will eventually lead you to the calm you've been praying for. Keep walking, keep believing, and keep calling upon Him. Because you're not truly lost, you're just being guided through a different road to the place where you're meant to be. Every struggle you face, my brothers and sisters, has a purpose, even the ones that make no sense right now. Sometimes life feels like a series of obstacles. You wake up every morning trying your best, but things just don't go the way you planned. The job didn't work out, the relationship fell apart, the people you trusted disappointed you, and your dreams seem to be drifting further away. And you start wondering, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Why is Allah letting me go through this? Why? But what we fail to realize is that every hardship, every delay, every closed door carries within it a message, a hidden mercy that we may not see yet. When you go through pain, Allah is not punishing you, He is teaching you. Every struggle is designed to shape you, not to destroy you. The most painful moments of your life might actually be the ones that prepare you for the blessings you've been asking for. Sometimes Allah puts you through the fire not to burn you, but to purify you. Because the version of you that can handle the blessing is not the same version that entered the test. You have to be refined, humbled, and strengthened before you are ready for what's coming. Think about it. If everything in your life always went according to your plans, would you ever grow? Would you ever learn to trust Allah completely? Probably not. You'd begin to think you're in control. But when life shakes you, when things don't go as you expect, that's when you truly realize who the controller is. That's when you stop relying on your plans and start surrendering to His. Sometimes Allah removes something from your life because He knows it was never meant for you, even if you thought it was perfect. You cry over what you lost, but Allah is saving you from something you can't see yet. Maybe the job you didn't get would have taken you away from your faith. Maybe the person who left your life would have broken your heart in ways you can't imagine. Maybe the delay in your plans is protecting you from harm that only Allah knows about. Every no from the world is a trust me from Allah. And it's not just about loss. Even the small daily struggles, the delays, the disappointments, the moments of uncertainty are signs that Allah is fine-tuning your path. You might be praying for something and it seems like your dua isn't being answered, but maybe Allah is holding it back because He knows you're not ready for it yet. Maybe He's waiting for you to learn patience, gratitude, or humility before He blesses you with what you're asking for. Because if you get what you want before you're prepared to handle it, it could destroy you instead of benefiting you. When something doesn't go your way, don't rush to label it as bad. The human eye sees the moment, but Allah sees the entire journey. We see loss, He sees protection. We see delay, He sees preparation. We see disappointment, He sees direction. What looks like a setback today might be the very thing that leads you to your breakthrough tomorrow. Sometimes Allah takes you through hardship because He wants to hear your voice in dua. He wants you to call out to Him, to reconnect, to remember that no matter how many people surround you, only He can truly understand you. Pain often pushes us to prayer, and prayer brings us closer to peace. Without hardship, we'd forget how much we need Him. That's why every struggle, even the one that brings you to tears, is a form of mercy in disguise. You might think, but I've been struggling for so long. When will it end? The truth is, Allah never promised a life without pain. He promised that through the pain, He would never leave you. Sometimes the test stays, not to punish you, but to elevate you. The patience you build during that time becomes your strength. The tears you shed become your purification. The prayers you make in desperation become your connection with your Creator. When you're in pain, it's easy to focus on what's wrong, to feel that everything is falling apart. But what if it's actually falling into place? Maybe you're being guided towards a new beginning. Maybe your heartbreak is the start of healing. Maybe your failure is the seed of a success that hasn't grown yet. Allah's wisdom is infinite and our understanding is limited. When you can't see the reason, that's when faith is truly tested. Sometimes the struggle isn't about what's happening to you, it's about what's happening within you. Hardship reveals the strength you didn't know you had. It breaks your pride, it teaches you compassion, it reminds you how small you are without Allah. You begin to appreciate the little things, a moment of peace, a sincere smile, a quiet prayer. You begin to see blessings where you once saw burdens. That's how Allah transforms pain into purification. If life were easy all the time, we'd forget our purpose. We'd drift away thinking we're self-sufficient. But Allah loves you too much to let that happen. So He allows you to go through moments that remind you who's really in control. He reminds you that peace doesn't come from having a perfect life. It comes from trusting Him even when life is imperfect. So when you struggle, don't ask why me. Ask instead, what is Allah teaching me through this? Because behind every difficulty there's a lesson. Behind every closed door there's a hidden blessing. Behind every heartbreak there's a new beginning. You may not see it yet, but you will. One day you'll look back and realize that every hardship had a purpose, that every delay protected you, and that every loss made space for something greater. The next time you face a struggle, remind yourself this is not the end. It's a step in your journey, written by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. You may not understand the plan right now, but Allah never makes mistakes. Trust that He's taking you where you need to be, not where you think you should be. Because every struggle, every tear, every sleepless night is leading you closer to the peace, the wisdom, and the strength that only Allah can give. When you don't know what to do anymore, my brothers and sisters, the most powerful thing you can do is turn to prayer. Not as a ritual, not as a habit, but as a real living conversation between your heart and your Creator. Because when you feel lost, when your mind is noisy, when your soul feels heavy, prayer is the rope that keeps you connected to Allah. You may think, but I've been praying for so long and nothing is changing. But maybe what needs to change is not your situation, but your heart during the prayer. You see, prayer is not just about asking for things to get better. It's about finding peace while you wait for them to get better. It's about surrendering your plans to the one who knows what's best for you. When you stand in front of Allah, even if your voice trembles and your words feel weak, you are speaking directly to the one who already knows your pain. You don't need fancy words. You don't need to sound perfect. You just need to be sincere. Allah loves the voice of His servant when it's soft and honest, even when it's broken. Sometimes when life gets overwhelming, our instinct is to run to people to tell them what we're going through, to seek advice, comfort, or solutions. And while it's good to have support, no one can truly understand the depth of what you feel except Allah. No one can heal the wounds you don't even know how to describe. You can talk to people for hours and still feel empty. But one moment in sincere prayer, one genuine tear on the mat can bring you more peace than 1,000 conversations. Prayer isn't just about asking, it's about realignment. It's how you bring your restless heart back to focus. Every time you stand to pray, you're saying, Ya Allah, I still trust you. Even when you're tired, even when you don't see the results, even when you're confused, your prayer is proof that you haven't given up. That's what makes it so beautiful. You're telling Allah that even though the world is uncertain, your faith in Him is not. When you don't know what to do, just stop and make wudu. Let the water wash over your hands, your face, your heart. Feel the calm that comes with cleanliness. It's not just physical, it's spiritual. Then stand before Allah. Even if it's just 2 simple units of prayer, pour your heart out. Tell Him everything. Tell Him about the confusion, the heartbreak, the anxiety, the disappointment. Tell Him how much you're trying, how tired you are, how scared you feel. Tell Him you don't have the answers and ask Him to guide you. There's something powerful that happens when you admit your weakness to the one who is all powerful. You start to feel lighter. You start to feel heard because you are heard. Sometimes we pray only when we're desperate and we stop when things get better. But prayer isn't just for difficulty, it's for stability. It's what keeps you grounded when life is unpredictable. Allah doesn't need your prayer, you need it. It's your direct line to peace. Every prostration is a moment of surrender, a reminder that no matter how far you've drifted, you can always return. Every Allahu Akbar is a reminder that Allah is greater than your problems, greater than your fears, greater than your confusion. You might think your prayer isn't being accepted because things haven't changed yet, but what if Allah is using that time to change you first? What if He's building your patience, strengthening your faith, and preparing you for something bigger than what you asked for? There are prayers you made months or even years ago that are still being answered, just not in the way or timing you expect. Allah's delays are not His denials. He withholds only to give you something better. And don't underestimate the power of praying in silence. When your heart is heavy and you can't find the words, just sit quietly before Allah. Even your silence is understood. Even your tears are heard. Sometimes you don't need to say anything at all. Your pain itself becomes a dua. The Prophet once said that Allah is closer to you than your own jugular vein. That means He knows what you're going through even before you speak it. There's a certain peace that comes from knowing that you can let everything go in sujood. When your forehead touches the ground, you're not just lowering yourself physically, you're letting go of control, ego, and fear. You're saying, Ya Allah, I can't do this without you. And that is where strength begins, in surrender. Because true peace doesn't come from having no problems. It comes from having trust in the one who can solve them. Sometimes prayer doesn't remove your difficulty immediately, but it gives you the strength to endure it. It shifts your perspective from why me to help me. It changes your question from when will this end to what is Allah teaching me through this. And when your heart reaches that point of understanding, the storm outside may still rage, but inside you'll find calm, because you'll know that you're not alone, you're being guided. If you feel lost, don't run away from prayer. Run toward it. Even if you don't feel anything, even if it feels mechanical, keep showing up. Because faith is not about feeling good all the time. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. Every time you pray, when you're tired, when you're confused, when you're heartbroken, that's not weakness. That's faith in its purest form. One day you look back and realize that it was your prayers that carried you through the darkest nights. It was your quiet conversations with Allah that gave you the strength to keep going. And you'll understand that prayer was never just about asking, it was about becoming stronger, calmer, and more connected to the one who has been with you all along. So when you don't know what to do anymore, don't let despair consume you. Just raise your hands, bow your head and whisper, "Oh Allah, guide me." Even if that's the only prayer you can manage, it's enough. Because the moment you turn to Him sincerely, you've already taken the first step toward peace. There are times, my brothers and sisters, when you pour your heart out in prayer, when you've done everything you can and still nothing seems to change. You wait, you hope, you ask, but all you hear is silence. You start wondering if Allah is listening to you at all. You start questioning why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place. But what we must understand is that silence from Allah is not abandonment. His silence is not rejection, it's preparation. When Allah is quiet, He's not ignoring you. He's arranging things for you in ways your heart can't yet see. Think of it like this. When you plant a seed in the soil, you don't see anything happening for a while. You water it, care for it, wait, and it still looks like nothing is growing. But deep beneath the surface, roots are forming. The foundation is being built. The same happens when Allah is silent in your life. Just because you can't see the movement doesn't mean He isn't working. Behind the scenes, He's aligning hearts, changing circumstances, and protecting you from outcomes that would harm you. We live in a world that moves fast. We expect everything instantly, instant messages, instant results, instant relief. But divine timing doesn't work that way. Allah doesn't rush the process because growth doesn't happen in haste. He knows when you're ready and He knows when you're not. The silence you're hearing might be His way of slowing you down, of teaching you patience, of strengthening your faith. Because if He gave you everything you asked for immediately, you would never learn trust. You'd begin to think that faith is a transaction, not a relationship. Sometimes Allah's silence is mercy. You might be praying for something that looks good to you now, but He knows it will hurt you later. He knows the conversations you haven't heard, the decisions you don't know about, the traps you can't see. So He remains silent, not because He doesn't care, but because He cares too much. His silence is His protection. You see only a small piece of the puzzle, but He sees the entire picture. What looks like unanswered prayer today might be a door of protection that saves you tomorrow. And sometimes Allah's silence is a test of sincerity. It's easy to have faith when your prayers are answered quickly, but real faith is built when the answer doesn't come and you still choose to trust Him. When you keep praying even when you don't feel heard, that's when your heart is being polished. That's when you're showing Allah that you worship Him, not His answers. You love Him, not just the blessings He gives. Look at the story of Prophet Yusuf. He was thrown into a well, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. Can you imagine how lonely that silence must have felt? But throughout it all, Allah was preparing him, teaching him, protecting him, positioning him until the day came when the plan was revealed. Every silent moment had meaning. Every delay had purpose. The same applies to you. The period of silence in your life might be the very stage where your next chapter is being written. There's a wisdom in divine quietness. It teaches you to slow down, to reflect, to connect with Allah more deeply. Because when you stop hearing answers from the outside world, you're forced to listen to what's happening inside your heart. That's when you discover that Allah was never absent. He was waiting for you to truly pay attention. Sometimes the silence is a space for growth. If you're always given what you want instantly, never learn to wait. And patience is one of the highest forms of worship. Allah delays to develop you. He delays to prepare you. He delays so that when the blessing finally arrives, you'll appreciate it deeply and use it wisely. The person you are becoming through the silence is just as important as the blessing you're praying for. You might feel like nothing is moving, but the truth is Allah's timing is perfect. You may not see progress, but He's already working on the next part of your story. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it never will. Maybe the right people aren't ready. Maybe your heart isn't ready. Maybe the world around you still needs to shift before it happens. The silence is not a stop sign, it's a not yet. And not yet is still mercy. Think about all the times you wanted something desperately, but later you were grateful that it didn't happen. At that moment you couldn't understand why Allah was silent, but now you can see the wisdom. You can see how that unanswered prayer led you to something better. That's the beauty of divine silence. It only makes sense when you look back. So when you feel ignored, remind yourself you are never unheard. Every whisper of your heart, every tear that falls, every quiet dua you make, it all reaches Him. Allah says He is closer to you than your own jugular vein. That means even in the silence He is with you. Even when you feel forgotten, He remembers you. Even when you feel unseen, He is watching over you with care and love. When Allah is silent, it's an invitation to deepen your trust, to pray not just with your lips but with your soul, to surrender even without understanding. It's easy to believe when life goes your way, but true faith is holding on when nothing makes sense. That's where the real beauty of belief lies, in trusting the unseen. So my brothers and sisters, don't mistake His silence for absence. When Allah is quiet, stay patient, keep praying, keep believing, keep showing up, because the silence will not last forever. When the time is right, everything will unfold perfectly, just as it was meant to. And when it does, you'll realize that the silence was never empty. It was full of divine wisdom, full of unseen mercy, and full of love from the one who never left you for a single moment. My brothers and sisters, sometimes the greatest blessing in life comes disguised as rejection. You might think Allah is taking something away from you, but in truth, He's redirecting you. You may see a door closing and assume it's the end, but Allah knows that what's behind that door isn't meant for you. He sees what you cannot. He knows what your heart desires, but He also knows what your heart cannot handle. So when you face rejection, or when something you hoped for slips through your hands, remember you're not being rejected, you're being redirected. There are times when you want something so badly, a job, a person, an opportunity, and it feels perfect in your eyes. You pray for it, you work for it, you dream about it. But then suddenly it falls apart. The offer doesn't come through. The person walks away. The plan crumbles. You sit there wondering, why Allah? Why did you let this happen? But maybe Allah didn't let it happen because He knew something you didn't. He saw what was waiting for you down that road, and out of His mercy, He blocked it. He turned you around before you could get hurt. You saw loss. He saw protection. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life, not because they're bad, but because they've already served their purpose in your journey. They were there to teach you something about love, patience, strength, or self-respect. Once that lesson is complete, they're no longer meant to stay. You might cry, you might feel abandoned, but if you could see what Allah is protecting you from, your heart would be at peace. You'd say, Alhamdulillah, not just for what He gave, but for what He took away. And it's not just people. It could be an opportunity that didn't work out, a dream that fell apart, or a goal that never materialized. You might think it's a setback, but it's often a setup, a redirection towards something far greater. Sometimes Allah delays your success because the version of you right now isn't ready to handle it. He's building your patience, your humility, your strength, so that when the blessing arrives, it won't destroy you, it will elevate you. Think of Prophet Musa when he fled Egypt. To him, it looked like a disaster, leaving his home, his people, and his comfort behind. But in reality, it was a redirection. Allah was leading him away from danger and preparing him for his mission. When you look at your own life, you'll see similar moments. What you thought was rejection was actually a rescue. What you thought was the end was just the beginning of something better. Many times, the pain of rejection blinds us to its purpose. We get stuck asking why instead of trusting the who. The why is about the situation, but the who reminds us that it's Allah who's in control. He never withholds out of cruelty. He withholds out of mercy. There's a reason why He closed that door. There's a reason why He didn't let that person stay. There's a reason why the timing didn't work. You may not understand now, but one day you'll look back and realize that His plan was far better than yours. There's a story in every rejection, a story of redirection, of protection, of divine timing. You might not see it now, but every no you receive in life is making space for a bigger yes. Allah doesn't just take without giving. He replaces what you lost with something better, even if it takes time. But to see it, you have to stop staring at the closed door and trust that the new one will open when the time is right. We often say, if Allah wills, it will happen. But when it doesn't happen, we forget that same statement still applies. If Allah didn't will it, that too is mercy. He knows the roads that lead to destruction even when they look beautiful from afar. He knows what your heart can handle and what it cannot. So when He redirects you, it's because He loves you. His denial is protection, not punishment. Maybe the path you wanted wasn't straight. Maybe it was leading you into harm, distraction, or heartbreak. So Allah gently closed it. And yes, it hurts. It's okay to feel that pain. It's okay to cry. Even the prophets felt pain when things didn't go their way. But they also trusted that Allah's wisdom was greater than their emotions. They knew that being redirected meant being guided, and being guided meant being loved. Think about it. If everything went according to your plan, you would never discover the depth of Allah's plan. If nothing ever fell apart, you would never learn to rebuild stronger. If you never faced rejection, you'd never experience redirection toward your true purpose. Life's disappointments are often divine appointments in disguise. Sometimes you need to be pushed out of your comfort zone to find where you truly belong. You might be praying for stability, but Allah is preparing you for growth. You might be asking for what feels safe, but Allah is guiding you to what's best. And that journey often starts with disappointment, the moment when you realize that what you wanted isn't happening and you have to let go. But letting go doesn't mean losing. It means making space for something new. When you face rejection, don't see it as a sign that Allah has abandoned you. See it as a sign that He's about to elevate you. Because sometimes the door you wanted so badly to open would have led to a hallway of regret. Allah knows where each step will lead, and His redirection is His way of protecting your destination. You're not being left behind, you're being repositioned. So the next time something doesn't go as planned, take a deep breath and say, Alhamdulillah. You may not see it now, but this closed door is saving you from something unseen. One day you'll thank Allah not just for what He gave you, but for what He didn't. You'll realize that every rejection was a redirection toward peace, purpose, and growth. Because with Allah, nothing is random. Every pause, every delay, every heartbreak is part of a divine reroute that will eventually lead you exactly where you're meant to be. My brothers and sisters, when you feel lost, the worst thing you can do is stop moving. Even if you can't see the full path ahead, even if your steps are slow, keep moving forward. Because progress, no matter how small, is still progress. When life feels heavy, when your faith feels weak, when you wake up and you just don't have the strength to face another day, remind yourself, even crawling toward Allah is still moving toward Him. Don't underestimate the power of small, consistent steps. Sometimes we think we have to make big changes overnight. We imagine that faith means always being strong, always being certain, always being motivated. But real faith isn't about never falling, it's about refusing to stay down. Even if your prayer is weak, pray. Even if your heart feels empty, keep turning to Allah. Even if your tears have no words, let them fall, because consistency, even in small things, builds connection. Allah loves the consistent deed, even if it's small. Why? Because consistency shows sincerity. It shows that even when you don't feel it, you still choose Him. When you're struggling, your heart whispers things like, what's the point? I'm too tired, nothing is changing. But that's when you must remember faith isn't about feelings, it's about perseverance. You might not feel close to Allah right now, but that doesn't mean He's far. You might not feel inspired, but that doesn't mean you've failed. The Prophet himself went through moments of deep sadness, times when revelation paused and the silence felt unbearable, yet he didn't stop. He waited, trusted, and kept going. And that's exactly what we need to do. If you can't run toward Allah, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't even move, at least face the right direction. The point is, don't give up. Every small act of goodness you do when it's hard to do it counts more than you realize. Every prayer made through tears, every moment you hold your tongue when you could have responded in anger, every sigh you release while saying Alhamdulillah instead of complaining, these are victories. They may seem small, but they are the bricks that build your inner strength. Sometimes we're waiting for motivation, for that spark to suddenly appear. But motivation doesn't always come first. Action does. You act, then the feeling follows. You pray even when you don't feel like it, and slowly your heart begins to soften again. You recite a verse even when your mind is distracted, and eventually the meaning begins to touch you. You smile at someone even when you're sad, and Allah rewards you for spreading light when you yourself are in darkness. That's how faith grows, not through perfection, but through persistence. When you feel paralyzed by confusion, take one small step. Maybe that means picking up the Quran and reading a single verse. Maybe it means sitting quietly and making a short dua. Maybe it's helping someone else. Because sometimes serving others brings clarity to your own soul. The light doesn't appear before you move, it appears as you move. Just like headlights on a car don't illuminate the entire road, only a few meters ahead. Faith works the same way. As you keep going, the next part of the path reveals itself. Many people give up because they think they have to see the full plan before they start. But that's not how Allah's guidance works. He gives you enough light for the next step, not the whole journey. He wants you to walk with trust, not with certainty of outcome. That trust, that surrender is what strengthens your heart. Because when you walk in darkness with faith, every small step becomes an act of worship. And remember, your pace doesn't matter to Allah as much as your direction. You might feel like others are ahead of you, more spiritual, more successful, more disciplined. But Allah doesn't compare you to others. He looks at your effort. If you're trying sincerely, even with weakness, even with mistakes, He knows, He sees the struggle behind your smile. He knows how much it takes for you to keep going when everything inside you wants to stop. And He loves that effort. Life is not about constant motion, it's about intentional movement. Sometimes you'll walk fast, sometimes slow, and sometimes you'll pause, and that's okay. Just don't give up. Even when it feels like your prayers are hitting the ceiling, keep praying. Even when it feels like your heart is dry, keep remembering Him. Allah promises that whoever takes one step toward Him, He will come many steps toward them. That means even your smallest act of effort is never wasted. There's a beautiful truth in this. When you take a single step in sincerity, Allah takes care of the distance. You don't have to figure everything out. You just have to keep moving, keep believing, keep showing up to your prayers, to your duties, to your moments of silence. Don't worry about being perfect. Worry about being consistent. Because consistency, even through confusion, creates clarity. The peace you're searching for often appears after you've taken that next small step, not before. So when you feel like giving up, remember it's okay to rest, not to quit. Sit down if you must, cry if you need to, breathe, and then stand up again. You may not see it now, but every tiny effort you make is adding up. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of patience is being recorded by the one who never forgets. The path may feel long, but it's leading somewhere beautiful. My brothers and sisters, don't underestimate the power of simply not giving up. Keep walking even when it hurts. Keep praying even when it feels empty. keep believing, even when everything inside you doubts, because the one who keeps moving, no matter how slowly, will eventually reach the destination. And when you do, you look back and realize that Allah was carrying you the whole way through, every stumble, every tear, every silent night. You'll see that your small, steady steps were never small to Him, they were everything. One of the greatest sources of sadness today is comparison. We live in a world that constantly tells us to measure ourselves against others, their success, their wealth, their relationships, their appearance, their achievements. You scroll through social media and it feels like everyone else has their life together. Everyone seems happy, fulfilled, and successful. And you look at yourself and think, why am I not there yet? What's wrong with me? But that, my dear brothers and sisters, is one of the biggest tricks of the devil to make you believe that your worth depends on how you compare to someone else. The truth is, you don't need to be where someone else is. Your journey is your own. The timing of your life, the lessons you're learning, the challenges you're facing, they are uniquely written for you by Allah. The same way no two fingerprints are alike, no two destinies are the same. You may see someone ahead of you achieving things faster and you might feel left behind. But what you don't see are the battles they've fought, the tests they've endured, or the emptiness they may still feel inside. Everyone's test is different, and Allah knows exactly what each heart can handle. When you compare your path to others, you're not being fair to yourself. You're judging your chapter 2 by someone else's chapter 20. You're looking at the highlight of their story while ignoring the hidden struggles that shaped it. What looks like success on the outside might be a storm on the inside. You can't see their tears, their doubts, or their prayers in the middle of the night. You only see the surface, not the soul. That's why comparison will always steal your peace, because you're comparing what you know about yourself with what you don't know about someone else. Allah did not create you to walk someone else's journey. He created you to walk yours. The moment you try to imitate another person's path, you disconnect from the purpose He specifically designed for you. Your timeline is not delayed. You're not behind. You're exactly where Allah wants you to be, learning exactly what He wants you to learn right now. Sometimes He slows your progress to protect you. Sometimes He withholds something to purify your heart before you receive it. Sometimes He makes you wait longer, not because you're unworthy, but because He's preparing something extraordinary for you. Think about how different the lives of the prophets were. Prophet Yusuf spent years in prison before becoming a leader. Prophet Musa spent decades in exile before being sent back as a messenger. Prophet Ayub lost his health, wealth, and family before Allah restored him. Their timelines were not the same, but each one was perfect in its purpose. If Allah's plan for His prophets wasn't identical, why would yours be? Comparison only blinds you from seeing the beauty of what Allah is doing in your life right now. Sometimes the delay you're frustrated about is the very thing that's protecting you. Maybe if you had gotten what you wanted too soon, it would have destroyed you. Maybe Allah is strengthening your character before He grants your success. The waiting season is not wasted, it's preparation. It's teaching you patience, humility, and gratitude. Every time you feel like you're behind, remind yourself, Allah's timing is not based on human calendars. His plan unfolds with precision, not pressure. When you stop comparing, you start appreciating. You begin to see how many blessings you already have. You realize that your journey, with all its ups and downs, is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more grateful. You stop chasing other people's definitions of success and start focusing on what truly matters. Your relationship with Allah, your inner peace, your character, your sincerity. Because in the end, it won't matter who had more followers, more money, or more recognition. What will matter is who had a heart connected to their Creator. And remember this, the person you envy might be envying you for something you take for granted. You might wish for their wealth while they wish for your peace. You might want their beauty while they long for your simplicity. You might desire their position while they pray for your contentment. Comparison blinds us to the reality that everyone, no matter how blessed they seem, is fighting a battle you can't see. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us to look at those who have less than us in worldly matters, not those who have more, so that we remain grateful. If you want true peace, focus on your lane. Wake up every day and ask yourself, how can I be a better version of me today? Not a better version of someone else, a better version of you. You don't need to compete with anyone but yourself. If you prayed yesterday, pray better today. If you fell short yesterday, try again today. Allah doesn't expect perfection, He expects effort. And He loves the heart that keeps trying even when it's tired. Comparison also kills contentment. When you constantly look at what others have, you overlook what you already possess. Gratitude is the antidote to envy. The more you thank Allah for your blessings, the more He increases them. The more you focus on what's missing, the more you feel empty. Your peace depends on where your focus lies. Shift your focus from what you lack to what you've been given, and you'll start to see how generous Allah has always been. So my brothers and sisters, stop comparing your journey. Your story is still unfolding. The delay is not denial. The setback is not failure. The path you're walking might be longer, but it's leading you exactly where you need to go. Allah is not late. His timing is perfect. Every test, every turn, every pause is written with divine precision. Allahu anna minnan haman kal'ina ma bana amlunna. One day you look back and realize that the slow pace, the detours, the waiting, all of it was necessary. You'll see how Allah's plan connected every dot beautifully. وَأَمَا بَعْدُكُم مِّن لُمْسَاتِ النَّسْلِ مِنْ عَبْلِي وَأَمَا بَعْدُكُم مِّن لُمْسَاتٍ 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 عَبْلِي وَأَمَا بَعْدُكُم مِّن لُمْسَاتٍ. And you'll be grateful that you didn't rush, that you didn't give up, that you trusted His timing instead of comparing your journey to others. Because the truth is, when you stop competing with people and start connecting with Allah, that's when you find real peace. My brothers and sisters, life is not meant to be a straight line. It's a series of highs and lows, moments of strength and moments of exhaustion. There will be days when you wake up with energy and clarity, and others when you feel like you can barely breathe. And that's okay, you are human. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to rest. What matters is that you don't quit. Too often when we reach a point of fatigue, we confuse the need for rest with failure. We think I'm not strong enough, or maybe I've lost my faith. But sometimes your soul is simply tired. Sometimes your mind and heart need quiet. Allah does not expect you to be a machine. He knows you get weary. That's why He told us to take care of ourselves, to reflect, to step back when needed. Even the Prophet, peace be upon him, would retreat for solitude to recharge spiritually and emotionally. Resting is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's how you find balance in a world that never stops demanding more from you. There's a difference between pausing and quitting. Pausing means catching your breath so you can continue the journey. Quitting means turning away from it altogether. When you feel overwhelmed, don't walk away from Allah. Instead, take a step back from the chaos of the world and move closer to Him in silence. You don't always need to speak. Sometimes you just need to sit in His remembrance, breathe deeply, and let your heart find stillness again. When life gets heavy, it's okay to admit it. You don't have to pretend to be strong all the time. You don't have to smile when you're hurting inside. Allah sees the effort it takes just to hold yourself together. He knows how many nights you've cried quietly. He knows the battles you fight in silence, and He doesn't judge you for being tired. He understands your pain better than anyone. So when your body feels weak and your heart feels numb, tell Him, say, Ya Allah, I'm trying but I'm tired, please help me. That simple, honest plea is more powerful than you think. Sometimes we push ourselves too hard trying to carry burdens that were never ours to carry. We think we have to fix everything, solve every problem, control every outcome. But that's not your job, that's Allah's. Your job is to do your best, to put in the effort and then let go. Trust that He will handle what's beyond your strength. Because the moment you stop trying to carry the world on your shoulders and instead place it in His hands, that's when peace begins to return. Rest is not just for the body, it's for the soul. And one of the most powerful ways to rest your soul is through remembrance, dhikr. When you sit quietly and just repeat words of gratitude, when you remind your heart of Allah's mercy, you begin to feel light again. You start realizing that you were never truly alone, even in your hardest moments. Sometimes a few quiet minutes of sincere remembrance can do more for your heart than hours of distraction ever could. It's okay if your pace slows down. It's okay if your prayers feel heavy. What matters is that you keep turning back, even if all you can do is whisper His name. Allah loves consistency, but He also loves honesty. He doesn't expect you to be strong all the time. He expects you to keep coming back to Him, no matter what state you're in. So if you need to take a break from the noise, do it. If you need to cry, do it. If you need silence, embrace it, but don't disconnect from Him. Don't think that taking a pause means you've failed spiritually. In fact, that pause might be exactly what you need to realign your heart with Him. Sometimes the world glorifies constant productivity. Keep going, no days off, never stop. But that mindset can destroy your peace. Even Allah built rest into our lives. The night follows the day for a reason. It's a reminder that slowing down is part of His divine design. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others, serve your family, or fulfill your purpose if you're burnt out inside. Rest isn't selfish, it's necessary. And remember, the goal isn't to always feel strong. The goal is to always return. Even if your return is slow, even if it's messy, even if it's through tears, just return. Because every time you come back to Allah, after falling, after feeling tired, after feeling distant, it counts. Every moment of renewal is a victory. When you take a pause to reflect, Allah often uses that stillness to reveal what you couldn't see while rushing. Maybe that delay in your progress is His way of showing you a better path. Maybe that moment of rest is preparing you for the next chapter of your life. Don't underestimate the power of stopping sometimes. That's where the biggest breakthroughs happen. So, my brothers and sisters, if you feel exhausted right now, take heart. You are not weak for needing rest. You are wise for recognizing it. Slow down if you need to. Take care of your heart. Reconnect with your Creator. Let yourself breathe. Because true strength is not found in constant motion. It's found in knowing when to pause, when to seek peace, and when to realign with Allah's plan. When you're ready, stand back up, not with the same energy, but with renewed faith. You'll find that your heart feels lighter, your focus sharper, and your purpose clearer. Because even when you paused, Allah was still guiding you. He never stopped watching over you. You were never truly alone. And when you begin again, you'll realize that the pause didn't slow you down. It prepared you for everything that's yet to come. One of the most comforting truths of life is that darkness always comes before dawn. Every night, no matter how long, must eventually end. And every difficulty, no matter how heavy, will eventually pass. But when you're in the middle of it, when you're surrounded by confusion, pain, and silence, it's hard to believe that the light will ever return. You start to wonder if this is how it's going to be forever. You look for hope, but all you see is darkness. Yet it is in that very darkness that Allah is closest to you. Every storm you go through has an ending. It might not be today or tomorrow, but it will come. Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. And that means even in your lowest moments, there's still strength within you that you haven't discovered yet. The same way the seed must be buried in darkness before it breaks through the soil into the light, your soul too must sometimes be pressed by hardship before it blooms. Pain is not a punishment, it's a process. It's how Allah transforms you and draws you closer to Him. When you're going through difficulty, it's easy to think that you've been forgotten. You see others smiling, succeeding, living peacefully, while you're just trying to survive another day. But remember, you only see their surface, not their struggles. And just as you have your own night to face, they have theirs. Everyone's test is different, but the promise of dawn is the same for all. Allah never leaves you in darkness without preparing the light that follows. Look at the rhythm of creation. The night always ends. After winter, spring always comes. After tears, smiles return. The same Allah who created this balance in nature created balance in your life too. No pain is permanent. No difficulty is endless. Every wound heals, every storm calms, and every heart finds peace, not through its own power, but through the mercy of Allah. The challenge is to hold on long enough to see it. Sometimes Allah allows you to walk through the darkest valleys so that you realize light isn't found outside, it's found within through faith. It's when you're stripped of everything that you start to rely on Him completely. And when you do, that's when your heart begins to feel light again, even before your circumstances change. The dawn might not come immediately, but peace begins to rise within you, slowly, quietly, like the first rays of sunlight after a long night. Think of the Prophet Yunus when he was swallowed by the whale. Can you imagine the darkness of that place? The isolation, the fear, the uncertainty. Yet, even there, in complete darkness, deep beneath the sea, he found his way back to Allah. He didn't give up. He called out and Allah responded. The same way He responded to him, He will respond to you. Because the same Lord who brought light into the belly of the whale can bring light into your heart no matter how lost you feel. When everything around you feels uncertain, hold on to the certainty that Allah's promise never fails. After hardship comes ease. The dawn doesn't rush, but it always arrives at the perfect time. You might feel like you're trapped in endless night right now, but trust that the sun is already on its way. Your situation won't stay the same forever. Change is coming, and it will come when it benefits you most. The key is patience, not passive patience, but the kind that believes even when it doesn't see. Patience that prays through tears. Patience that trusts Allah's timing over your own desires. Because sometimes the reason you haven't seen the dawn yet is that Allah wants to teach you something in the dark, something you could never learn in the light. Maybe He's strengthening your heart. Maybe He's softening your soul. Maybe He's showing you that peace doesn't depend on circumstances, but on your connection with Him. And don't let your temporary pain convince you that you're alone. You're not. The one who controls the night is the same one who brings the morning. He knows your heartbreak, your exhaustion, your silent prayers. Every tear you've cried is seen. Every sigh is heard. Every moment you felt unseen, He was there. That the darkness you're walking through now might be His way of pulling you away from what harms you and guiding you toward what heals you. If you look back at your life, you'll realize that every difficult season eventually made sense. You've been through things before that you thought you wouldn't survive, and yet here you are. Stronger, wiser, softer. That's proof that Allah was with you then and He's with you now. The same Lord who carried you through your last storm will carry you through this one too. So when the night feels endless, remind yourself this is not the end. The sun is closer than you think. You might not feel the warmth yet, but it's rising quietly, patiently, at the exact pace Allah decreed. Every test has an expiration date. Every storm runs out of rain. Every pain eventually turns into prayer. And every prayer is answered in the best way. My brothers and sisters, hold on a little longer. Keep believing even when your heart feels heavy. Keep praying even when your voice trembles. Keep trusting even when the world feels dark. Because soon, and you don't know how soon, you'll wake up one day and realize that the night has lifted. The light will fill your life again. And when it does, you look back and understand that the darkness was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you for the dawn that was always coming. One of the hardest but most liberating truths you will ever come to accept is that Allah's plan is always greater than your own. We all make plans, we dream, We imagine how life should go, who will be, what we'll achieve, where we'll end up, and then life unfolds in a way that doesn't match any of those plans. Things fall apart, people change, doors close, you feel disappointed, even betrayed by the outcome. But what you don't realize in that moment is that Allah never breaks a heart without preparing to rebuild it stronger. What looks like chaos in your eyes is perfect design in His. Every one of us has faced moments where we thought, this isn't how it was supposed to be. You tried your best, you prayed, and yet what you wanted didn't happen. But perhaps it didn't happen because you prayed. Perhaps Allah heard your dua, and instead of giving you what you asked for, He gave you what you needed. That's His mercy, sometimes hidden, sometimes delayed, but always present. You see, your view is limited to the now. You see the scene, He sees the entire story. You see loss, He sees protection. You see rejection, He sees redirection. There's something deeply humbling about realizing that Allah knows you better than you know yourself. You may think you want something so badly, a job, a person, a dream, but only Allah knows what that thing would do to your heart in the long run. Only He knows the pain it might bring, the pride it might cause, the distractions it might create. So when He withholds it, He's not punishing you, He's preserving you. Sometimes the delay is His way of protecting your heart from a burden it's not ready to carry yet. It's easy to trust Allah when things make sense, but real faith is trusting Him when they don't. It's when your plans crumble and you still say, I know you have something better for me. That's the level of trust that turns pain into peace. When you stop demanding to understand and start accepting that His wisdom is infinite, that's when your heart begins to heal. Because understanding can't always comfort you, but trusting can. Think about Prophet Yusuf. When his brothers threw him into a well, when he was sold into slavery, when he was imprisoned, each of those moments looked like disaster. But every one of them was part of Allah's plan to raise him, to purify him, to prepare him for leadership. None of it made sense when it was happening, but when the story came full circle, it was perfect. The same goes for your life. You might be in your well season right now or your prison season, but the palace will come when Allah decides it's time. We often forget that Allah's plan includes every delay, every tear, every unexpected turn. He never loses control. He never forgets His promise. What looks like a setback is often setting the stage for your greatest growth. The job that didn't work out might be saving you from years of misery. The person who walked away might be making space for someone better. The failure you're crying over might be redirecting you toward a success far beyond your imagination. But you won't see it until later, and when you do, you'll say, Subhanallah, now I understand why it happened the way it did. When life breaks your plans, it's not because Allah forgot you, it's because He loves you too much to let you settle for less. Sometimes He removes what's good so He can give you what's best. But to receive it, you have to let go of control. You have to stop clinging to your expectations and start trusting His wisdom. You can't hold on to your plan and receive His at the same time. One must give way to the other. It's natural to question. Even the prophets asked why at times, not out of doubt, but out of human curiosity and emotion. But what made them special was that they trusted even when they didn't fully understand. They knew that Allah's plan was greater than their pain. They knew that what looked like delay was actually preparation. That's the difference between despair and hope. Despair says it's over. Hope says Allah's still writing. Sometimes Allah takes you through difficulty, not to break you, but to reveal something hidden within you. Strength, resilience, compassion, patience. Trials strip away distractions and bring you back to what matters most. Your connection with Him. You might lose things in the process, gain something far greater, closeness to your Creator. And that closeness is the greatest gift of all. It's also important to remember that Allah's plan is not just about this world. Some prayers are answered here and others are saved for the hereafter, where the reward is eternal. You may think He hasn't answered you, but in truth, He's storing something beyond your imagination. That's why trust in Allah must extend beyond time, because His mercy extends beyond this life. When you're faced with uncertainty, try to replace your question, why me, with what is Allah teaching me through this? Every test carries a message. Every difficulty carries wisdom. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the pain you thought would break you actually built you. That the things that didn't go your way were the very things that guided you to the path that was always meant for you. My brothers and sisters, your story is still unfolding. The chapter you're living right now, the confusion, the loss, the heartbreak, it's not the end. It's just a pause in a greater narrative being written by the one who never makes mistakes. When you finally see how everything fits together, you'll fall into sujood, not out of desperation, but out of gratitude. You'll say, Ya Allah, now I see what you were doing. I didn't understand then, but you never failed me. So if you're in a place where nothing seems to make sense, hold on, don't give up. Trust that every delay, every detour, and every disappointment is part of a divine plan far more beautiful than the one you had in mind. Allah's plan is not just greater, it's perfect. And when you truly believe that, you'll stop worrying about what's next, because you'll know whatever comes, it was always meant for your good. My brothers and sisters, life will never be free of tests. There will be moments that make you question everything, moments when your heart feels too heavy to carry, and days when you wonder if the light will ever return. But through it all, never forget this, you are not alone. Allah has never left you, not for a single heartbeat. Even in the silence, even in the waiting, even in the pain, He is with you, guiding you gently, shaping your heart, preparing you for something far greater than what you can imagine right now. Every hardship you face is not meant to break you, but to build you. Every delay, every rejection, every tear, it all has meaning. Allah does not make mistakes. Sometimes you don't see the wisdom because you're standing too close to the picture. But one day, when you look back, you'll realize how perfectly everything fit together. Every loss, every pause, every unanswered prayer. You'll understand that His plan was not only better than yours, it was perfect all along. So, don't let the darkness of the moment convince you that your story is over. The dawn is coming. Keep praying, keep hoping, keep trusting. You might not understand the chapter you're in, but you can trust the author, the one who knows the end before the beginning. And now, my brothers and sisters, let us turn our hearts to the one who never turns away. Oh Allah, we come before you with hearts that are tired but full of hope. We ask you to guide us when we are lost, to strengthen us when we are weak, to comfort us when we are in pain. Oh Allah, forgive our mistakes, ease our burdens, and fill our hearts with peace. Help us to trust your plan even when we don't understand it. Grant us patience in hardship, gratitude in ease, and faith that never wavers.
Protect our hearts from despair, and let your light guide us through every darkness.
O Allah, make us among those who find beauty in the test, wisdom in the waiting, and closeness to you in every moment of life. And when our journey comes to its end, let our final words be words of peace and faith, words that lead us back to you. Ameen.